Welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, the show where we discuss how you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. Well, everybody's talking about it, so we're going to as well. Trump wins, the Republicans are back in power, but how is this going to impact foreclosure investors like you and me looking to do deals in 2025? Let's talk about it. It's going to be a great show. See you in a minute. Hello and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am Donny Coram, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, and this is the show where we discuss how investors just like you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal with a guaranteed profit of at least $25,000. Well, this was a big week for the entire country, but particularly the investing market. Trump was reelected in a landslide victory over Kamala Harris. Obviously, I didn't need to tell you that. You've been watching the news. But how is that going to impact real estate investors? Well, obviously, what we do know out of the gate is that, at least for me, in the 4 years Trump was in office were some of the best years financially that we had ever seen. Listen, out of the gate, interest rates were low, unemployment was low, taxes on corporations went lower, business was booming to say the least. And then the Democrats took over with Biden, and for about 2 years, we were able to ride that Trump wave for a little bit. And then, as expected, the bottom fell out of it. Interest rates went way, way up in 2022. And really, at least for my wife and I, it put a stop to our ability to flip houses at the rate we were working on. In 22, we actually had 45 flips completed. We were on track to do 60 flips in that year, but with the interest rates going way up, we got stuck with a whole ton of inventory that basically became unsellable. And honestly, this was kind of the goal of the Democrats. Inflation, I can't argue, was running completely out of whack at that point. Homes were going up 20 to 30% per year, in certain markets even higher than that. It was definitely an unsustainable growth. One of my best examples was the Springs Hell House. You guys remember that one? This was the property that we bought in the Broadmoor area, right? And it went, the original agent on it did a bang up job of detailing how bad this property was. Let me just show you the video from when we were interviewed by Denver 7 News. Pretty incredible stuff here, but we bought the property. And the reason I'm bringing it up is, we've talked about this house before at other shows.
Prestige Dental is your...
We bought the property. We had intended on selling it for about $750, maybe $775, okay? And by the time we got it done, 6 to 8 months later, our list price was actually $875, and we ended up walking out of it with $845. This was almost $100,000 more than we intended to get for this property. And needless to say, it made for an incredible paycheck. So I obviously was a big fan of the market the way it was sitting, but we did know that it was unsustainable. Here's a little before the property with the agent who did a bang up job of talking about how bad it was. The news picked it up. There was some graffiti on the walls all over. They had let some cats die in the laundry room. So some rancid meat in the freezer, which smelled worse than you think, to be honest. That was just horrible getting rid of it. But by the time we got to the property, it was a great deal. We picked up the home for $580,000 with my wife and I being interviewed by the news. And this was our 15 minutes of fame, if you will, where a lot of people came to me and said, hey, I want to learn how to do this flipping thing. Are you willing to teach us? Well, this was late in 21. And by 22, the coaching business had really gotten some steam, and we've started to do this full time because flipping became very difficult for us with some of the toxic assets that we had brought on. Ultimately, though, this was one of the better deals I had done in my career. Buying this for $580, I think we spent about $130,000 maybe on the remodel, and ended up selling it again for $845, pocketing somewhere in the neighborhood of $130,000, $140,000 in profit on the deal. And I want to caveat that, okay? We are experienced flippers. That's the big variable, okay? You don't start into the business doing deals that make that kind of yield. You work your way up to that. So when my clients are first getting started, we're looking for much easier deals that make about a $25,000 profit, and you learn how to do that consistently consistently as you work your way up. But here we are back in a Trump economy. What is it going to look like as things move forward? Well, of course, everybody's got an opinion, and I certainly have mine. What I believe is that we're going to see a substantial discount in rates. We're going to see a big drop in interest rates as Trump works with the bank to reduce the interest rates. And that, of course, is going to spur the housing market to jump back up and may, if it goes too far too fast, get us back to the inflationary period that we were in. So they're going to have to do this carefully. I'm not alone in that mindset. Grant Cardone, the famous real estate investor, did an article right after the Trump victory. Obviously, he wants to capitalize on the press, and all of us are doing that right now, right? But let's look at what Grant talks about. Real Estate Titan predicts major rate cuts following Trump victory. He predicts that the Federal Reserve will make historic rate cuts over the next year. And there's a lot of argument that the president doesn't have any control over the Federal Reserve. That's nonsense, okay? The president is controlling all of the economy and can pull strings as needs to happen. So we know for certain Trump is going to have a huge impact on the Federal Reserve. And what Grant is saying anyway is that that's going to push rates down at historic levels. And already, just in the first day after the victory, the Dow Jones went up 1,000 points in one day. So obviously, a lot of investors are feeling really positive about the Trump economy to come when he takes office officially in January. So what does this mean for you and I as real estate investors? Should we be doing deals in the new Trump economy? Well, obviously. And I can tell you, whether the market's up or down, foreclosure buyers are always in a unique position to do deals because we're buying stuff below market. We're looking for deals in the market and we're capitalizing on the fact that we're buying below market. But the challenge has been for the past couple of years selling those properties on the open market. I have clients who are sitting on homes now for 90 to 120 days waiting for them to sell because there are much less buyers in the market as rates have trickled above 7% for interest rates. And honestly, I don't think anybody thought it was going to go that high. Did you believe that was going to go that high? Well, we bought a lot of inventory before the rates went up, thinking we'd sell them in the current rate market, which was in 3 to 4%. And we watched in horror as the rates went way past 6 and then into 7%, getting us stuck with a lot of inventory we didn't intend on buying. Investors, let me make you feel a little bit better about it. Under this economy, it is my belief, Grant Cardone's belief, most of the standard investors' belief that the future is very bright for real estate investors. You still make your money when you buy. That is never going to change. Okay, if you're going to do a deal, you've got to make sure you're running your analysis properly to buy the property right. Buying the property right means not getting emotionally attached to the purchase. You got to buy with the right numbers to get into the deal at the right number. Make sure your remodel budget's going to stay within that budget, and then be conservative about what your sales price is going to be. This is the wrong time to start believing we're going to get back into bidding wars and sell for $20,000, $30,000 above asking price. I don't think that's going to happen in the foreseeable future, and it may never happen. So you got to use today's pricing to accurately price your property to sell. But if you buy it right, you rehab it correctly, and you sell it at or even slightly below market prices, you're going to be able to make a lot of money in the real estate market in the years to come, especially under a Trump economy, which is going to force the market to lower the rates a little bit, giving more banking benefits, and ultimately cutting taxes on corporations. We know Trump is famous for those kinds of things, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that in the years to come. So you are a private investor. You've got some investments out there. You've got some mutual funds. You got some money sitting in your IRA. You have a desire to get into real estate investing. You're just not certain exactly how to get started. Well, that's the problem that the foreclosure profit system can solve for you. We will help you to find the deals, analyze the deals, fund the deals, fix the deals, and sell the deals at a profit, with the desire that you make enough money on one deal that you go back and do multiple deals for years and years to come. See, this is a relationship-based business for me, guys. And my goal is not just to get people in the program, make a bunch of money on coaching. I know there's a lot of guys out there, the gurus we call them, who are just selling education, and that is their focus. Capture money to teach. And there's some famous gurus out there. One of the ones that comes to mind is Stan Merrill, and I love the guy. I've met him personally, so nothing against Stan at all, but his program for coaching is generally somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 he charges to get in there. Then he hands you a workbook, gives you an 800 number to talk to one of his sub coaches, wishes you the best, and he doesn't care at all if you ever actually do a deal because he's made most of his money from the coaching side of the business. This is not at all how my system works. My objective is you do have to make an upfront investment to prove that you're serious and to engage my entire team that's going to help you to find deals, to analyze those deals effectively, to fund those deals, to fix those deals with my contractors, and then to sell those properties at a profit. And I believe we're going to see more profit in 2025 than we've seen in quite some time as the retail market is going to go back to a recovery level. In my opinion, people are going to start buying houses again. Rates are going to come down. Corporations who are being taxed less are ideally going to employ more people, increasing the volume of money that's in the market, and just getting the American economy back on track. So if I sound excited, it's because I am really excited. I was super nervous that we're going to have 4 more years of what we've had in the past. I know a lot of people felt the same way. Hey, listen, if your candidate didn't win, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people had a lot of emotion attached to that, but I think that we're heading in the right direction right now, and Trump's attitude and persona is not ideal to anybody, myself included, but the stuff that he can get done in our economy by treating it like a business, I think is going to be game changing, and I am super excited to see what happens next. So what's going to happen to the foreclosure market? Well, here's the thing. No matter what the economy is doing, people tend to make bad choices in their life. They lose their jobs, they drink too much, they get divorced. Things happen all the time. As a result of these things happening, and they happen to good people as well as bad people. So I don't want you to look at foreclosure as something that only plagues people who are, ne'er-do-wells or et cetera. I've met doctors who were in foreclosure. I've met people at the very upper echelon of society who fell upon financial hardship and were forced into foreclosure. It happens to everybody, okay? But when it happens, those houses are taken back by the bank as collateral, and then somebody's got to take those properties from the bank, remodel them as necessary, and put them back in the market. So my opinion is that's not going to change. Even in a better economy, you're going to see a rash of foreclosure deals. One thing to note is that there are a ton of properties that were foreclosed on up to years ago that are currently owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development that have not sold. Let me show you something on that, all right? We're going to hop in to the El Paso County Assessor real quick, all right? Because I want to show you how many homes are currently owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development that are not listed on the marketplace. There's generally what we call a shadow inventory of homes that should be on the market because they're already foreclosed but haven't been listed. The theory for why that is wanders, but one of the main reasons is it's not good for the Politico, right? They will leave properties not listed because they would rather not show people what's actually going on, which I think is obviously horrible, but that's what we get a lot of, is that we're being hidden from. So we're just going to bring that up, see how many we find. There we go. So I'm going to show you the screen now. Let's share. Oh, we're already sharing. Nope. Here we go. All right. So this is the assessor site. And right now it's only showing 4 of them. You guys are not getting the right screen here. Hold on. Thanks for hanging on with me, guys. All right. So an example here, okay? In El Paso County alone, there are currently only 4 properties that are showing right now listed as owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. You see these, right? One of these is currently listed on the market. Okay, and this is the one on Pipestem here. We've gone to look at this property. We got a bid in on it already. Okay, my point in sharing this with you is there are 4 times as many owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development as there are currently listed by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. What that means is there's a lot of at least 3 times or 4 times the inventory. Look at these properties. These are properties all across the state that are listed. But if we look at El Paso County specifically, there are 10 properties in the state, and there's 1 listed in El Paso County. this one on Pipestem that we just saw, despite the fact that there are 4 currently owned by Secretary of Housing. And there are tons more that are currently in foreclosure, some of which may never make it to foreclosure. Hopefully, the owner figures out a way to get their loan current and gets to keep the property. But in a lot of cases, the volume of people who end up in foreclosure, and the 4 houses that I showed you are already owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. So why aren't they listed? Well, my opinion of that, not to get all conspiracy theory on you, but Politico has really been trying to push that the market's okay, housing's okay, life is okay, let's not panic yet, right? When the reality is up to 4 times the inventory that's listed is actually already foreclosed and owned, and there could be a larger percentage beyond that that are currently in the foreclosure process. So my point is the opportunities are still out there. They are coming to the market. Our job as the Foreclosure Profit System team is to help you to identify those targets. We find them early. We lock them up on your behalf. We line up financing and do all of the research necessary, including home inspections, construction estimates, a Matterport tour so we can walk through the property and build the scope of work. And then once it's all fully dialed in and we know that there's a good solid profit on the back end, then we present those opportunities to our clients as a deal you can buy. When you sign up for the program, you get priority access to the next deal that comes in because we want to get you into a deal right away. But our objective is that you profitably do a deal, you make a bunch of money, and then you move on to do the next deal. The only way that's going to happen is if you are consistently profitable on the deal. The good news, guys, is I believe that the market is going to improve in real estate, business across the board. And obviously the country felt the same because that's why Trump was reelected. So if you decide to get into this now, it's been 2 years of struggle. We've worked through it. We've done a lot of profitable deals, but I'm not going to kid you. It's been difficult for the past couple of years. The new market, the new economy that I think we're heading into right now should show a lot of signs of improvement because that's the benefit to changing a leadership is just the faith and hope that is given to the country when there's a more business-minded executive at the helm of moving things forward. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited as well. The time to get into real estate investing is definitely right now. And if you get signed up for the system today, you will be in a deal by the end of the year at the latest, working through it. So by the time we get to January and Trump takes over the country, the market should start to be careening back in a positive direction, and you should get more than our projections on the sales price. All that speculation, but that's the belief in the program that we have right now and the economy that we're heading into in the current climate. So I would love to hear your thoughts about it. We got some viewers here watching. Please comment below. How you feeling about Trump getting in? Do you feel like now is an excellent time to invest? What are your thoughts on that? And while you're putting together those comments, guys, know this. Any market works for real estate investors. Like the stock market doesn't just function when it's going down. You've heard of short sellers. Well, short sellers in the market are working on when the market goes down. They benefit from that. So in a down market, we did fine. When the market was flatlining, we did fine. Okay. We tend to do better when the market's moving one direction or the other. A flat market, like it's kind of been for the past 2 years, is very hard to predict. Okay, but a down market's actually good news for us because we can buy the properties cheaper and sell them for a little bit less. Okay, you're still going to be the nicest house on the block at the lowest price. So there's always a buyer for that property. An up market is much easier to predict. And that's what I think we're heading into next, where houses are going to start appreciating in value again, maybe not at the pace they did, hopefully not at the pace they did in 2020 and 2021. But I do think we're going to see more appreciation back in the market caused by dropping interest rates, which means it's going to attract more buyers to the market. The other real factor here is look at the number of rentals that are being built all over, but particularly here in the Colorado Springs market. These rentals are very expensive, okay? A studio apartment is going for $1,800 to $2,000 in downtown Colorado Springs. And if you look in Denver, $2,500 or more is more the norm. Okay, it's very expensive to rent right now. As rates come down, home buyers are more likely to want to to buy a home, then they're going to want to pay these ludicrous rental rates, right? So that's going to provide opportunity. If you're giving a nice, beautiful, remodeled home with new countertops, new cabinets, new everything, and you're selling it at the market rate or maybe even slightly above what the market rate is, and then interest rates come down, giving buyers more buying power, what do you think they're going to do? Rent an apartment for $2,500 or buy your fully remodeled home? That's kind of a no-brainer, right? The market is shifting. The time is now. If you're looking at doing a deal, I would love to be your investment coach to walk you through finding, figuring, funding, fixing, and flipping a foreclosure deal right here in the Colorado market. I know we're going to see some great opportunities in the months to come, and I certainly hope that you'll join up with us and be a part of that. All right, guys. Well, that really is our show for today. Excited about the new Trump economy. I hope that you are too. If you'd like to discuss a little bit more about getting into the program and seeing if coaching is the right fit for you in your investment journey, reach out to me, send me a message, call me. Let's get together and grab coffee or beer, whatever your preference is, and determine if this is the right fit for you. For now, this is Donny Coram, your foreclosure deals coach, thanking you for tuning in and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.